Hello? Oh, hi. Oh, you're still here. What? You're curious what happens next. Seems pretty straightforward to me. Aurelia confesses and loses the trial. She's indicted for murder later on and goes to jail. Maybe her lawyer manages to get her sentence down to 12 years or so. She can afford a decent one after having to hand over all the money to little Miss Holden, that is. But hey, I heard there are a couple good ones out there that pretty much work for free. Was there a real mastermind? Who knows? Too late to prove now. And naturally, Aurelia and Lilian never talk again. What do you think? I wish I could see your faces right now. I'd love to gauge your opinion. Probably something along the lines of, let's see. What is this shit? Can't blame you. It's pretty garbage as far as endings go. I mean, sure, subverted expectations and all that, but, yeah. Subverted expectations only goes... I'm still on the camp that I'm down for the way that ending went last video, but, subverted expectations, like, you still could have cut that last, like, rebuttal with Victoria and only made that final segment of that trial more powerful. That last rebuttal with Victoria was too much. Like, cut to the thought route, the checkmate sequence, and then the final shutting down of Lilian. And that's a powerful ending. Yeah, like straight from the key coming out to the thought route to the checkmate sequence, which is pretty unique and pretty cool on its own, to the ending with confessing. And that's a powerful ending. Like, it did get me back in the end. The human brain can't help but feel irritated by something with so many unresolved plot points. But what is there to expect with such a crappy protagonist? Couldn't be helped, really. Shut up. This all happened because of you. Hi, really? Look who's here. Wasn't sure if you'd still make it to the session. Should know better than to blame me for this, though. Oh boy. After all, I'm already dead. Probably. Let's try a little harder instead of just picking the easiest scapegoat. Alright, you have my attention. Let's review. You're trying really hard, but convince yourself you earned this. Alas, the truth prevails. Your sense of self-preservation remains strong. A shadow casting many fears, no doubt. You know it won't help for long, but how much you consume. Oh, this is our regular court record. Self recognition is the first step. When will you take the next? A hole in the heart, but yours is deeper. Home sweet home. This is Stan Leid's comment on our court record. God dang. My bad, I guess you would understand the sentiment. Be prepared to kill. This prize won't be claimed any other way. The knife. Your fear objective truth. You won't have a say. Did you know that's presumptuous? This was Hunt. I'd say you did take out quite a loan. Tend to pay your dues with interest, the tender bender. Make a door, but it will never close again. You have to make sure to keep this one shut. Study door? Why are you going to make it on the news? This time it's your own achievement. You should be proud. It's the case key. Locking it away is not a permanent solution. The destruction is permanent. Is it even possible to accomplish that? That backfired on you. A textbook lesson in about selfishness. How is it to feel like a fraud? I don't remember what that one was. Do you remember what that's like? A world without worries. Can't allow yourself to do that. There's no getting rid of me. No noise can drown me out. Your greatest fear is sadly true. You do sometimes hope you can be someone like her. When the honest path fails, the darkness becomes appealing. A shame you're stuck with being you. Well, that's Holden's past. Do we have case notes from Dr. Leid? Stop trying to make everything sound profound. Illusions won't turn you into a tragic hero. You're almost there. What's up with your signed confession? Where'd it go wrong? Time heals all wounds, supposedly. You might want to think of a plan B. You have a clear case of globus hystericus. I see you're trying to make this lie difficult. Will that make you feel better about doing it? You worry quite a lot about that. Your thoughts once you'll have nowhere left to go. Bitterly to worry, we're not even close, and may never be at this rate. The universe itself pronounced you guilty. It's not worth trying to explain it. Take the long overdue rest you desire so much. Good job. She'll leave you alone now. But make no mistake, her expectations weren't the problem. What's this? Come on. You're used to regrets. Such disdain for the agents of truth. Please stop trying to rationalize it. You crashed and burned. Makes you feel better about being someone who gave up. It would even be a lie. And if you did not shoot her, you still killed her. This was Melanie. Reminded of your failure. That's what you must have looked like to everyone else. Want to make up for things so badly, then spare the pain. Susan? Was this Kova? Well, you could delude yourself only half as well. Still, it's thanks to her that this will finally be over. Oh, Victoria. Oh, please, you only feel this rage because you failed to do it yourself. You wonder if he knew me? I diagnosed you with a severe case of paranoia. Is it a symptom of your lies or merely a distraction? Guard? No, this is Guard. Add another one to the pile. How many do we have now? I've lost count. I know you haven't. Hello, it's me. Reason we can't have good things. Don't look too closely or your house of cards might crumble. Walt Disney. Worry about your own anger issues. Impressive it took this long for you to lose it. Perhaps being locked away is what you need. The Jonas Dow? How much money makes up for a human life? It's so easy to sense your doubts. Finding that treasure won't fix this easier. Monopoly? Way to go, hypocrite. Seems like exposing the truth is fair. As long as it doesn't involve yourself. Mariko? So innocent, so carefree. Couldn't be like you. Not anymore. Jealous? Oh boy, alright. You tricked me. Then you forced me to do all this. Really, so insistent. Nobody forced you to do anything of this. You had so many chances to turn around and walk away. But you didn't. You just wanted to bury all of it. Hey, I suppose congratulations are in order. You finally got what you wanted. Good job. Is this what I wanted? You got rid of the book? No? Don't be ridiculous. It wasn't supposed to be like this. You didn't seriously think you could do this clean and easy, did you? It's enough of a miracle nobody found this until now. Like I always used to say, to be ignorant of the truth is to live in a house of cards. You're wrong. Those words were a lie. If I'd never learned about what you did, my life wouldn't have gone down the drain like this. You think you could have kept deluding yourself? No, you'd have ended up like King Oedipus all the same. I've proven you wrong now. Now that this is gone, I'll be free from you. I'll be in jail, but I'll be free from you. Yet here I am. The truth remains the truth, even if all physical evidence of it is erased. Why is your hat so sharp? And why does it have an extra sharp corner? If you didn't think about something with no proof, is that I can just ignore it. Oh, so you can ignore me now. Moving a couple sheets of paper suddenly stops this spiral. Go right ahead, then. You'll find that memories can be pesky things to get rid of. Just watch me. I'll be able to fix things from here. Oh my, this session might not be enough. We need some serious help. Don't you think that by trying to prove me wrong, you're basically just proving me right? Mind-blowing, I know. Might have to let that sink in for a while. Oh, hi. Just because he's a bad guy doesn't mean he can't have a point. Can you even judge the merit of truth on your own instead of simply disagreeing with him? What are you doing here? Hey, you sure did a number on me there. I feel that earned me a spot in the blame game. I'm not blaming you. You just didn't know. Yes, you are. You're still chatting with us like nothing's wrong. But you've been keeping your distance these last years. I get that. Here we are, expecting you to keep faking a smile. And now you've finally had enough and pushed me away. Well done. Didn't mean to come off that way. You were just trying to help. You couldn't have known this was something I had to take care of on my own. Sucks not being able to tell me the truth, huh? We can work it out later, after this is all over. Don't lie to yourself. You're glad that this happened. You just want everyone to go away. Especially me, the walk-in lie detector. Such a pain to keep your act up around me. You look forward to the comfort you'll find in solitude. Let's not... This is over, we can... Oh, hi. That little book's the reason I got killed. You shouldn't have stayed quiet and let me stab you. Then you wouldn't have to deal with all of this pain now. You're a criminal yourself. What gives you the right to think you're any better than me? Huh, I didn't do what you did. It's that simple. I may have helped Dr. Leid, but at least I wasn't a naive tool. You tried to kill me, and you killed me successfully. Your point. That's not true. Never actually shot you. I think. Do you seriously believe I would have died if you hadn't come to this tower? This whole business was tied to your reckless plan, and you know that quite well. I could have known that this would happen, though. Moot point, because you can't forgive yourself for it regardless. I had a daughter to take care of, you know. Who are you going to be useful for after this? You can't even help your own sorry self. Playing the daughter card won't work. She's part of the reason it's gotten to this. You relate to her pain. She reminds you of yourself. Someone who is greedy. Someone who will hide the truth for her own selfish desires. We're all cut from the same cloth in that regard. I'm doing this to make up for my mistakes. We're not the same. Don't call my conscience selfishness. Oh, zip it. You're actually pretty relieved that I'm dead. I was in the best position to figure out your secret after all. But you feel a little guilty about it. Wonderful. I suppose it's all okay then. You're the one that made it impossible for me to look for the book. You're the one that suddenly decided to hold this auction. Could have tried asking. You would have definitely read it if I did. Suppose that justifies crime then. That's nothing compared to what you were involved in. Oh, hi. I'm sorry. So... Anybody want to clue me in what I deserve this for? Okay, I really didn't have anything to do with that. I have no clue what happened to you either. Nice try, madam. But there's no slipping past me. Me getting off is obviously tied to that first murder somehow. If only you'd stayed home. Could have all still been minding our own business. No, that was no option. How was I supposed to know what was going to lead to this? People just keep dying around you, madam. Innocent people. How many more will it take? Shut up. You can't put this all on me. It's over now. At least it won't have been for nothing. Oh yeah, because you're getting your payoff. That really just saves my day. Well, our time is sadly up, Aurelia. All that's left to do is to reap the rewards. It's not productive to think about any of this. There's only one option here. Once again, we are forced to confess. Huh? Oh? Is that hesitation? Why does it have to be like this? Don't get me wrong, Aurelia. I don't get to do anything else. I only said so because I don't know what's really up. I absolutely will hate you if I learn about what you did. Might not say it openly, but I will judge you so hard in my mind. You have to do this. It's for the best. It's for the best. It's for the best. It's the best you've got. So stop moping about and take your pick. Confess to the crime. All caps. not worth it. Why? Why does this have to be the only thing I can do? Why did Victoria have to force this to happen? Why did Mrs. Holden and her daughter get me caught up in this? Why? Why? Why couldn't everyone just let me have this one thing? Enough of that, Aurelia. You keep blaming everyone. Keep coming up with reasons why this truth should stay concealed. At least have the honesty to admit that they're all excuses. You just didn't want anyone to know what you did. No, me? This fiend has only one face, and it's your own. Go away! Do you hate me? Yes. Can you forgive me? Of course not. Why? People died because of you. I never had any bad intentions. Doesn't matter. You should have seen it. Would have seen that coming. Someone who wasn't as naive. You were way too trusting. You kept talking about truth, but you weren't even able to practice what you preach. You blame me with hindsight. You know you're being unfair to me. If it was anyone else, you would be able to show some compassion. So what's the difference with me? I don't have the right to forgive you. And I'm too ashamed. And I'm scared it will happen again if I do. I see. Figure that's the best I'll get. Looks like I can't forgive you either. What? You haven't learned anything. You think anonymously sending money to the victims will redeem you? That's you trying to take the easy way out, and you know it won't work. What else can I do? It's better than nothing. It's you trying to pay off your sins. Indulgence doesn't work. That is all this mental self-flagellation. There's no way around that if I can't just forget. And you've certainly tried that as well to no avail. You ever tried to fix anything? You just wanted to numb the pain. But I look at that and think you've grown since then. You embody Einstein's definition of insanity. Got any ideas what else I should do, genius? I know you know. I wouldn't be here if I did. Yes, you would, because it's the one thing you don't want to do. Heaven only rewards those that take the hard way. It's time to face purgatory. What if it also doesn't work? Are we going to confess to our crimes that we did for Dr. Leid? Instead of the crimes that happened in this tower? That Victoria's trying to force us into? Because that would be a nice twist. We won't find any guarantees. That's why it's the hard way. That smile is actually full of some more. The hard way. Damn it. And they left with nothing else. There's nobody else I can leave this to. Not confessing was never an option. Instead of confessing to the crimes and going away the easy way. Yep. The other said confess to your crime. This says confess to your real crime. We got a small bit of health back. Miss Chase, you said you wished to confess? Yes, Your Honor. That's my intention. Made the criminal see reason in the end. Outstanding. If you didn't expect anything less from Victoria, shut up. Worry not, Aurelia. I'm bound by my word. Your little secrets shall never be uncovered. I wasn't planning to confess to this murder. Got something far worse to confess to. What in the world are you thinking? Do you remember so subpar you once again forgot the situation you're in? Put that right back wherever you pulled it out from. I'm going down on my terms. Ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you all about what's in that book. Defeat has made you lose your mind. Abandoned reason for one last self-destructive act of defiance. Do as you wish. I won't deny the loser's last privilege to choose the manner of their demise. Don't have time for this. What you'll find in this book is a long list of names plus some other data. As you might have figured from where it's found that this is connected to Dr. Leid. A list of all his subjects. Oh, so it's a list. That doesn't sound so bad. Wait, you don't mean subjects for Dr. Leid's. Of course. I'm afraid you always have to expect the worst with that monster. You also find that my name shows up in those documents. Your name? Does that mean that you were one of those subjects? I think you worked for him. No, I was far from a victim. think we've already addressed the atrocities that man was involved in. Relevant ones here are his abhorrent psychological experiments. In order to effectively conduct those, he first needed something. He needed human subjects. Even with his criminal connections, he didn't want to rely on kidnapping people off the street. That's where I came in. I became his recruiter. I was studying journalism at the time, which put me in a prime position to spread the word. I started walking around campus convincing students to participate. In a study. Wait, did we witness that in Lilian's flashback? By the renowned Dr. Leid. I was good at it. There's probably hundreds that decided to try it out. Of course, Dr. Leid wasn't an idiot. He knew he couldn't just start torturing everyone that came in. Most of the participants only had to sit through one light session of cognitive behavioral therapy. That also covers his tracks, too, as you have 9 out of 10 people who were just like, oh, it's not so bad, bruv. And the 10 out of 10 is just taken to the torture dungeon. Exceptions were those he ended up taking a special interest in. You'll find that 15 students in that list are still missing to this day. Nobody knows what happened to them. There were another 41 that suffered severe mental trauma. Out of those, about 24 have later become involved in violent crimes. 4 had to be admitted to mental institutions. Nobody had any idea this was going on until after Dr. Leid disappeared in the BU2 incident. Also have a chance that Aurelia, realistically, was just like, hey, you're going to school here, we want to help this renowned psychology doctor do some studies for tenure and shit? And she said, sure, okay. And then found out later, when someone sent that article to her house to publish, that, holy fuck, this is fucked up. And she's been racked with crippling guilt ever since. And as Dr. Leid goes down as for more and more varieties of crimes, Aurelia goes, oh fuck, my name is in his book. Dear Lord, you were directly working for Dr. Leid? Did you know that this was happening? I had no idea either. There was some odd signs here and there, but how could I have ever imagined something like that? You didn't know? How do you not notice that? Well, I'm not in the fucking torture dungeons. She recruited Lily went missing. Terrible excuse. She sent those students to their death. That's what she's been telling herself for years now. That's why she sends money to their families. Miss Chase, I can't help but notice. That article of yours doesn't mention your personal involvement in this matter at all. That's correct, Your Honor. I couldn't face what I did and tried to conceal my involvement. That book is the last remaining proof of me working for Dr. Leid. I broke into the study to get rid of it. That's why I was there. What a load of rubbish. She's feigning ignorance. Sounds like a criminal covering up her mess. Bet she's in league with that JP Corporation as well. Yeah, explains how she got the info for that article. He just sold out her boss for fame and profit when things went awry. Suits me. Let the hyenas eat each other. Knew this would happen. Endure it. Nobody hears a story like that without assuming I'm involved more deeply. Oh, hi, Lilian. What's up, girl? I'm not ready for this yet. I'll try to start. Here goes. I'm sorry. You were right, I was scared. Overwhelmed and completely snapped. Didn't deserve that, all after all you've done. Can we start over? You should have said that you meant to confess to this. Well, that was kind of a last-second course correction. Can't accept that. Of course, I didn't expect you to. Just a cheap apology at this point. I felt you were hiding something. I didn't know what to say. Wanted to know what was going on, but I didn't know how to ask properly. Like, Really, it was the one true friend, so of course Lilian isn't going to go start throwing it around, because Lilian really does consider Aurelia a good friend. I got so frustrated. I imagine anyone would have. It was still your choice what you were comfortable to share. I should have respected it, or asked you more straightforwardly. Instead, I fired back in kind by not telling you what happened on the lower floor. Thought the best way to let you know my frustration was to make you feel the same thing. That wasn't fair. I only made you suffer more. Those are, frankly, deserved consequences of my actions. If I hadn't pulled any of this, you would never have gotten to the point where you felt that way. No! You don't get to shoulder all the blame. It was my own choice how to react. I could have handled that better. You did that out of consideration. That's not something I could fault you for. It might not have been for you. Maybe I only wanted to trick you into doing what I wanted, because I'd blame myself if you got convicted. These cases always happen around me. I should have held the power to stop this, but I couldn't. Yeah, that's why I shifted all the pressure back onto you. Well, that's still not comparable to what I... Aurelia, please. Fine. Everyone sucks here, to some degree. R/am I the asshole, ruling everyone sucks here. A fair compromise? That's more like it. I wonder how this case would have turned out if we'd managed to do this sooner. Definitely couldn't have gone worse than this. Hate being too late so much. Don't diminish this by calling it too late. Yes, it's too late to avoid this mess, but a small victory is still making me feel a little better. Okay, with you there. Just wish I could have asked the right questions before you got forced into this. You can still ask. Go ahead. Huh? But you already suffered my way through that? Yeah. You know me, though. Probably left out enough to warrant some pressing. Don't hold back now. I always felt we'd work better if you don't try to be so charitable to me. I'm done with dodging questions. Hit me. Alright. Time to do this properly. Aurelia? How'd you even work for that lead guy? She literally hit me. Well, she did, in fact, ask for it. Yes, she certainly did. Ugh, wasn't that a bit much? How does it even work? Like you asked for, less charitable. Seems like souls might be a little more sensitive. What I unleash? Am I stuck in hard mode now? There's no way you'd just work for such a big-time criminal and not notice what's up. What's really going on here? Help me get it. All right, give me the whole story. The start of my birth for that? That far back? I don't remember much about my father. Most I know is what I've been told. He was a soldier. He got deployed to some foreign country. He died while I was still too young to be sad about it. I'd assume he got killed in combat, but that's not what happened. It's what happened after he returned. PTSD, it's a common problem with the military. You've heard of it. People with PTSD continually relive traumatic events they experienced. This manifests in many harmful symptoms depending on the person. My father's health deteriorated from stress and self-destructive behavior. That's what ultimately led to his death. My mother was pregnant with my sister when he died. It was a trying time. However, there was somebody who chose to support us. Brother in arms of my father, a fellow member of the military. The death of his friend seemed to have hit him just as hard. That mutual loss brought us together. He grew close with my mother, and 2 years later they married. Oh no. Oh no. Constantine Chase took his surname in honor of his friend. That looks suspiciously blonde. He seemed like a good man. Smart, brave, kind, patriot. For all intents and purposes, I considered him my new father. I respected him. It was a dream he would often talk about. It had been his life's mission ever since he saw what happened to his comrade. As a doctor of psychology, his main role in the army was to care for everyone's mental well-being. He wasn't satisfied with what little impact he made. He was determined to find new, more effective methods to treat PTSD. Thought he was amazing. Who couldn't help but respect him for fighting for to better the lives of so many people. I still would think that at the time he truly believed in it. But something changed at some point. I think it was when he was deployed on the front lines of another war for a few months. Began acting strangely when he returned. Something must have happened. Dr Leid. That's the name he suddenly started using. I figured he just needed some kind of code name. He eventually got that Secret Service job after all. And it should make sense why I helped him now. He basically was my father for most of my life, and I greatly respected him. Okay, that's definitely something she wouldn't want not have out there. Of course I was eager to give it a try when he told me he needed participants for a study. There were signs something wasn't right. It's not like I was blind to them, but because he was, in effect, your father, he just sort of disregarded them as, that's odd, and moved on. So the people that signed up with Dr. Leid stopped coming to university. It would have been hard for me to not eventually notice a pattern, but I willingly ignored those signs. That's a thing that you would likely notice at some point if the college was a big place and you're recruiting people you don't normally interact with. It's entirely possible that just comes up and you only notice it bits and pieces as it's becoming a massive problem in the background. Might be something you only pick up by osmosis when word gets around in their friend group and eventually gets around with what were they doing. Refused to even consider the possibility that he could have had anything to do with it. It was a long time before I recognized the truth. My mother's divorce was probably what ended up opening my eyes. I tried looking for answers. It was too little, too late. My proof wouldn't have been enough to convict him of anything. So I did nothing. I started avoiding all contact with him, and that was it. Even after he apparently died in that mansion, I kept doing nothing. It seemed like a good chance to forget I ever had any connection to that man. Till half a year later, that was. The evidence I hadn't been able to find suddenly showed up in my mailbox. Details of his experience, his connection to this JP corporation, even stuff I hadn't known about. Instead of being thrilled about it, I got worried. Who sent me these? What messages were they trying to send? Did they want me to reveal this? It took me another 5 months to decide what to do. And then I didn't even do it because I thought the truth should come out. I was doing poorly at work and this seemed like the only way forward. Of course I edited the proof first to make sure my own name wasn't mentioned. Why should I deserve to be punished with this? Why should I deserve to be punished for this? I was deceived as well. I kept telling myself things like that. You should get what happened afterwards. I erased all traces of my involvement with Dr. Leid. Except for one document I knew existed. A list of students I'd written to keep track of his study participants. I knew what the book looked like he'd keep them in. It was quite a distinct design. However, I had no idea where he'd kept it. I figured, or hoped, that it would just never be found. Until I read about the auction, that is. The list of items for sale included a description of what was no doubt that very book. That's when I couldn't help but worry again. The book was still there. It would soon be sold to someone who would no doubt have been curious about its contents. Which brings us back to the present. Wow, I never would have guessed your connection went this deep. I could just hear what those people would say if they knew all this. Like father, like daughter. They'd be saying something like that. Don't listen to them. You did some wrong things for sure, but no buts. Already going through all possible excuses. I failed to live up to my own words. I willfully ignored the truth and then proceeded to conceal and falsify the evidence. It's not what a detective, what a queen of crime should do. Instead of living up to that standard, I only tried to drag it down. You don't have to keep being that hard on yourself. Come now, please, be honest. You must be pretty disappointed with me as well. Not yet. What? Thanks for telling me. That must have been pretty difficult. People shouldn't only be judged by their past. It's how they deal with it in the present. And you're doing much better than there. You're doing much better there now than a few hours ago. I guess you could say it's better late than never. Detective gets to flounder along that way. What matters is the final answer they come up with. I'm not sure if this can be called an answer or just resignation. I'm not talking about that. There's still a case to be solved. What are you talking about? I already lost. There's no way out of Victoria's checkmate. Well, maybe you're able to think more clearly now that you've got all that off your chest. If you really think there's no chance we can do it, then I'll accept that. So what do you think? It's not like I'll suddenly see the light all of a sudden. I won't say this didn't help, but it doesn't change that I already tried everything I could. So did I, but didn't really manage to be all that coordinated in this trial so far. Well, true. Things always got kind of awkward. Sorry about that. Now that we can put our heads together properly, we might be able to figure this out. Well, why not? I pretty much got nothing left to lose. Okay, so you didn't really fire that gun, right? Time to set this straight. You've got me. Even though it makes no sense, I felt no recoil. Figured from the start that this was probably a frame-up. If somebody hated me enough to frame me, I thought they probably knew about what I did. Didn't want that direction to be explored, so I tried to argue it was self-defense instead. Man, you really threw me for a loop with that. Sorry. Anyways. What you said to Victoria earlier, were you being legit there? Do you think there's a mastermind who told Victoria about the key? Victoria's even better than you at deluding herself, but she can't fool me. Someone slipped her that info, knowing full well she's the kind to take full credit of it. Interesting. That would certainly imply a mastermind. Uh-huh. Victoria sucked too much and they had to give her a little hand. Ah! Love that. Roast her ass. That's true, then this culprit has to be currently trapped on this floor with us. Currently trapped on the floor with us. Alright. There's no way to communicate this from the outside and no way to leave. Well, there's one way to leave, which will certainly fall to your death. Parachute? Don't even go there. Guess we can't really deny it unless we do another head count. Also pretty certain that 200 meters is not high enough to safely parachute out of here. Yeah, my hunch is that we're still complete. Are you sure you didn't notice anyone suspicious yet? You've been in a better position to observe the audience. The real culprit would have to be lying very blatantly, so it should be easy for you to tell. You're right, I have confidence in my ability to pick up on culprit vibes. I talked to pretty much everyone, but I didn't notice anything like that. Otherwise I'd have told you, obviously. Does that mean there's no culprit here after all? I don't know. Maybe they somehow dodged me. My gut instinct failed. Can't never be easy, can it? At least had a suspect. At least the suspect, we'd be able to work backwards from there. That leaves us stuck having without explain away a key that I somehow ate. I think I actually figured that one out. Already considered the cake. It's nonsense, it wouldn't work. Oh, same brain. They're so good. Not coming to me how that could have been accomplished. There might actually be magic involved in this case. That's cheating. We're talking about a potential murderer here. Why wouldn't they cheat if they had the means? If stopping time is possible, it's trivial to explain this crime. It's trivial to explain this crime, yeah. Culprit could have simply walked up during the struggle and used my gun. Getting me to swallow the key without noticing would be easy as well. How would we convince anyone of that? Well, you've got a time-stopping power right here, even if it's not capable of those things. True, still, I don't feel like that's it. There's too much stuff that happened here that wouldn't be necessary. Like, if you could do that kind of stuff, you might as well just stop time during the auction. Then they could have made you shoot her in front of everyone. Much more simple and practical to frame me that way. There has to be some explanation, even if it's an insane one. In mystery novels, they often try to make you think something could have only been done with magic. Really convincing sometimes. Logic seems to inevitably rule out all sane ideas. That's almost never it. They're doing the same thing as the magicians on stage. There's normally some pretty mundane explanation hidden in a blind spot behind a lot of distractions. Well, if there's a blind spot here, it sure got me good. You think you can keep stopping time for a month and so to let me think about it? We're close to the limit, actually. It needs to recharge if I keep this up too long. That's that, then. I definitely need more time to sort this out. And there aren't any more ways to stall. Victoria really predicted and sealed off all our possible moves. There still has to be a way to catch her off guard. I think she can predict every move like this is chess, so it's clear what we need. And what's that? Moves so unexpected she couldn't possibly have seen it coming. Your king is trapped? Do a backflip. Take your own pieces. Those are very clearly just straight up illegal moves. Not if you're ChatGPT. Spawn pawns from nothing, from non-existence. Even if Victoria likes to see it that way, this ain't chess. Can't we do something to find a way to talk about the second murder? Get the feeling that's where we'll find the answer to our problems. Well, I did have a crazy idea that involves Lilian confessing. Unfortunately, that got completely locked off as well. Doubt the judge will listen to anything anymore until I can explain that damn key. I evidently can't right now. No, wait, there is a way. You figure something out? Obviously not, but if our goal is just to buy time, I think there's still a move we can make. Think about it. There's a way to explain the key. One person that totally had the chance to plan it. But overwide, there is nobody like that. No, there is one person that had the opportunity to do it, in theory. I'll need an explanation that passes the test, right? Doesn't have to be what really happened. You don't mean... That's crazy. Are you actually okay with pulling something like that? Since you were finally honest with me, I think I'll allow it this time. The lie can be fine as long as its purpose is to uncover the truth. Oh, we're out of time. Battery's low. That couldn't have been more poorly timed. Lock her up already! Order! Please, settle down, everyone. Aurelia Chase. You elected to reveal your true nature in these final moments. Confession demonstrates you as you are depraved, of very low intelligence, or both. However, you have shown you may be capable of reflection in the end. Remarkable, Hamasha. The average observer may have been able to reach catharsis. There was naturally no doubt that I would be able to achieve the perfect ending to this tragedy. Shut up already! That's all that had to be stated. Lower the curtain, Judge. Who said I was done? You truly have no artistic sense. What else could you add that would not ruin the moment? Missing parts in your confession are honestly superfluous. You should well have cornered me to this point, Victoria. There is, however, a single mistake you made. You should have taken your victory when you had the chance. Because now it might just slip through your fingers. At this stage, your efforts have become categorically Sisyphean. It did feel like that after a certain point, but the circumstances haven't apparently changed with your confession. Oh, it made a huge difference. You lost your trump card. It was very effective, but now I've got nothing left to lose. Pray that I won't manage to claw back up out of this hole, or there won't be anything you can do. Is hollow bravado all you wanted to add? Please spare us this tiresome farce, Judge. Certainly, Miss Chase's motives are clear now, but they changed nothing about this case. You're the only one that could have shot the victim and hidden the key, defendant. I had a little bit of time to think about it now, Your Honor. I've realized who it was. I know who managed to plant that key. We both know this is another bait if it's just another bluff of yours. You said you'd give me a chance, Your Honor. I must admit that I had no idea earlier. I didn't use up my shot yet. Suppose you didn't. Very well. You will get one chance. One. This makes no sense or no clear difference to the case. I will immediately end it. I'm standing on the thinnest of ice, but that suits me just fine. That way I won't even have to think about whether I should pull out all the stops. We won't have to try and pull off the ruse of the century here. Earlier, we established that it shouldn't have been possible for anyone else to plant the key. I couldn't have eaten it before the crime, and there was nobody that could have fed it to me after. That's incorrect. There was in fact one person that had the opportunity. Don't think I'm above using a stupid solution to keep this trial going. Doesn't have to be true. Doesn't even have to be plausible. Only has to be something that can't be easily denied with logic and the established facts. Presented the true culprit. This person had the opportunity to plant the key. Alright, Lilian, let's get our game going. I'm sure this is what you meant. Still, I have to make sure we're on the same page. May I have this dance? Ha! You still had to ask? Try not to trip up too much. Our health is healed to full. Our health just healed to full. The girls are okay. The one who planted that key. It's you, Lilian. You're the real mastermind behind this case. Did I hear that right? You're accusing Miss Maristella? Wasn't she on your side? Yeah. Why would you say something like that, Aurelia? If I tried to help you out so many times. Won't deny that you've been helpful. I'm afraid that's simply a result of you being too clever for your own good. Just the sort of thing a murder mystery enjoyer would do to appear less suspicious. Well, that's the extent of our friendship. You betray it just like that. I wish I wouldn't have to do this, but it's the only rational answer. Which means you're the traitor here. No matter what this is supposed to be, we should not be subjected to it. The defendant is bluffing. Even the least intelligent observer should see that this is mere chicanery. Is that true? Your Honor, I'm accusing my best friend of murder. That's not a choice I would make lightly. Do I look like I'm not completely serious to you? I didn't mean to imply you weren't, but... elucidate your ostensible logic, then. While it cannot be disputed that Lilian was permitted to be alone with you after the crime, are you seriously going to claim that provided her opportunity to insert a key into your mouth? Absolutely. And you meant to simply accept that asinine claim? There is no scenario in which that's remotely probable. Yeah, tell her, Victoria. Do not dare attempt to act like you're on my side now. I really hoped I wouldn't have to explain this, but I'm left with no choice. It shouldn't come as a surprise that the crime left me in shock and disbelief. It was odd Lilian spent some time comforting me in the side room, and things got a little too... Oh! Alright, I get what you're putting down. What do you mean by that? Details might be a little too passionate for this court. There was slapping involved, among other things. Oh my. Get flustered now? This is the only way to sell it I can think of. Lilian here, flustered at the outset and then sitting back and thinking, you'll have to demonstrate what you meant. Aurelia? How dare you plant such debauchery in our minds? Yes, suffer and burn at the altar of sin, Victoria! Even you would certainly not lower yourself to that conduct with such inappropriate timing. Strange things can happen when emotions run high. I'm not sure what to say. Bottom line is that Lilian was as close to my mouth as you can possibly get. She absolutely had a chance to slip in that key. Well, I can certainly see why you would have preferred to keep this private. I assume you have no actual proof for this. No shot. It really is wild, but she's not into recording herself. I deny everything. She's totally exaggerating how intimate it actually got. You knew nobody would buy such a ridiculous story. That's exactly why you did it. But you also can't disprove it. That'll be enough for now, because there's more pointing toward you. I think the fact that you're clearly the only one that could have murdered Mr. Guard. You don't get to do that. It's irrelevant to what we're talking about. It very much is the key to how you masterminded the incident. Would like to remind everyone of my theory that the victim was poisoned. Come on, with a program that's been denied already. That's not quite correct. Determined that no unknown substances were present on the display case. This only rules out everyone except you, Lilian. I'd like to remind the court that there is still no other explanation for the unusual symptoms the victim showed. I don't follow, Miss Chase. How does no poison being found not rule out everyone, including her? When did the display case get checked? It was after the second crime. This actually leaves us with two possibilities. One, there was never any poison on that case. And two, there was poison on that case when the victim was there, but it was cleaned up later. Only one person could have cleaned it up. One that had no alibi out of those who went downstairs. Conveniently carried the means to do it with you. The guard must have seen you erasing the evidence. That's why he had to die as well. Making a shockingly convincing argument. This is invariably becoming more ludicrous. Lilian has never been to this tower before, let alone the locked floor. Forget removing the poison. There was no way for her to plant it in the first place. The only one who would have been able to confirm that for sure is the very security guard she killed. Means my original poison theory is still on the table if she is involved. If we were to concede that, your theory is inconsequential to this trial. It's inconceivable that the poison actually killed her. Furthermore, Lilian is not the plaintiff. The Slayer rule would not apply to her. Regardless, we ought to. Ah, I see now what you're trying to do. You're going to abuse the fact that this is a civil trial. Very clever, Aurelia. Right. Guess you've caught on, huh? Must follow my lead and repeat my next phrase. Right. Your Honor, I request to file a motion. Motion is forward to the trial. What is it now? Consider it a strong possibility that Lilian poisoned Mrs. Holden. She knew that the poison would impair her judgment and make her more likely to attack me. She knew I'd be at this auction and made sure this encounter would happen far in advance. It was her goal from the start to frame me. It was clear she contributed to this outcome. I therefore wish to submit a third-party complaint against her. And what do you suggest that is? You can complain all you want, but it won't change the fact that this isn't her trial. Aren't you supposed to be a lawyer? You should know this stuff. Third-party complaint can be filed by a defending party in a civil trial if they think someone is liable. The person is then acted as a defendant. She's trying to shift some of the responsibility onto me. Indeed. It happens quite often in civil trials, as people are not eager to accept full responsibility for anything. If Miss Chase's theory is true, then this move certainly makes sense. There's nothing remotely sensible about this. Really is unable to dispute her own guilt. This trial is decided. I'm afraid this is still relevant to the outcome of this trial. After all, if Lilian contributed to Mrs. Holden's death, I should be sentenced to pay the full amount of 1 million. If she's found to have contributed, say 30%, then Lilian should be paying 300,000 of that. We can't conclude this trial until the question of her involvement is sorted out. This is a lazy, artless, half-witted attempt to prolong this trial. Request a motion to strike everything the defendant said, because it is an affront to rationality. Fortunately, no one gives a shit about your rationality, Victoria. Well, it certainly seems hard to tell if this motion is made in good faith. So what do we do now? This is as far as your plan went? You should have known she'd fight it tooth and nail. I thought it was good enough to pass. There's still a way to save this. Leave the rest to me. Are you sure you're speaking in your client's best interest there, Victoria? My client wants this trial to be settled without further delays, like any rational person. I'm broke. And if you sentenced me to pay 1 million, you'd be hard-pressed to collect even half of that. Lilian, on the other hand, I won't claim she's swimming in cash, but she runs a shop. Took that outfit. She's got money to waste. Hey! If your client actually wants to see money, she'd have better chances to get a decent amount with another defendant in the mix. I like this. You will not be entertaining your transparent proposals, Aurelia. This is the most any fan case has ever reasonably got into, like, actual civil law. Why don't we let her do it? Oh, that shows where her motives are. This is not up for debate. Learn your lesson and listen to my orders. Know your limits and accept this outcome. Rich stuff. Weren't you all about not settling for average? Don't misunderstand. I can read her as well. It's a desperation move because she thinks she can turn the tables later. She's doubling down while in the worst spot. That never ends well. Let her, I say. You're out of your asinine mind. My impeccable checkmate. Why would you permit her to move out of it? There is something you can always count on with bad gamblers. They don't know how to quit when they are ahead. You baited her with you said the magic word, Aurelia, and that was money. You seem terrified at the prospect. What? Do you certainly think that you can handle a couple more desperate arguments? Was it that your bag of tricks has run out? This would have been settled ages ago if it wasn't for everyone's ill-advised interference. This court has to cease allowing her to keep getting away with this. Credit where it's due. You really did have me cornered. I'm sure you predicted all rational moves, maybe even all asinine moves. That didn't mean I was out of moves. I still had the option to do what you hate the most. Moves so unfathomably irrational that you never could have considered it. The plaintiff does not object, and I see no need to deliberate. Defendant's motion to file a third-party complaint is hereby granted. Lilian Maristella is now the third-party defendant, with Aurelia Chase being the third-party plaintiff. Oh boy! The accusations against her are proven. She may be held liable for parts of the claim against the defendant. You regret this, Aurelia? You think you stand a chance against me when you can't even beat Victoria? It's a three-way match now. I'll wreak havoc on both of you amateurs. Oh no, Lilian's here to cash in her money in the bank contract. Let's pray your stellar acting holds up. Anyway, I'd like to defend myself. There is nothing about Aurelia's theory that even merits a defense. I'm with you there, but I have a legal duty to respond to these allegations. That certainly should be the next step. Good. Get ready for me to tear you a new one with some real logic. God, you're awesome, Lilian. This got me back big time. This got me back so good. Oh, really is stupid. Nice try, but your theory is nothing but hot garbage. Maybe I could have fed you the key, but I couldn't have gotten it. Never thought about that, did you? Your poison theory is speculative as heck. You also need crazy luck for that to work. Mr. Guard also obviously wasn't killed by me. He was still alive when I left that room. I was just entering the autonomy room when I heard the gunshots. Respect Lilian was the first to find his body. Can't sue me for that. Knew this would happen. I warned all of you. Just a transparent ploy to talk about a completely irrelevant incident. Finally, it seriously took this much just to get some testimony on it. It's very likely that whoever killed Mr. Guard did it for some reason related to Mrs. Holden's murder. And you conceded that much earlier. Not that it's worth arguing now. She's given testimony, and I'm allowed to cross-examine it. Unless you want to go first. I refuse to waste my time acknowledging that Philistine retainer of yours. Even Victoria knows she can't beat me. That should tell you something. Lilian comes out here, starts cutting a Scott Steiner program. You got a 66 and 2/3% chance at beating me. Victoria, she had a 33 and 1/3% chance at beating me. But she knows she can't beat me, and she's not even gonna try. I got a 141 and 2/3% chance at beating you, Aurelia. Not letting me off the hook that easily now. You've deceived me for long enough. Very well. Your cross-examination, Miss Chase. Oh, I think now is a good point to end. While we are very much ahead. This is... Lilian, what are you doing? What the heck? Get out of here.